Millions of kids play sports, but only a select few become elite athletes. So what makes that group stand above the rest? Is it their upbringing, genetics, psychological factors? The new book, The Best, How Elite Athletes Are Made, takes a look at how parents can raise a top athlete and the key traits your child might have to become one.
Joining us now is the author, Professor Mark Williams. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, we appreciate you joining us. Let me start by asking you, what age can you usually tell of your child if he or she has what it takes to become an elite athlete?
Yeah, you start with a very challenging question. I mean, it's very difficult actually to identify early markers of talent. I mean, if nothing else, actually, one good indicator perhaps might be the passion and interest that the child shows for that particular sport. And I guess that can occur very early. Clearly, it depends somewhat on the sport, but certainly that level of motivation, passion, interest can be shown as early as 4 or 5 years of age, even earlier in some sports.
We see some parents throw hundreds and thousands of dollars at extracurricular, outside of school sports activities like traveling soccer, or traveling baseball or basketball. Is there any evidence in your research that helps propel a student athlete to that elite level?
Well, I mean, clearly exposure to the right quality of practice is important. So in so much as maybe entry into a better sports club also gives access to better athletes to play with and against, and high quality coaching, then that's clearly a pivotal factor in regards to the development of expertise. And to some degree, the environment is quite pivotal in regards to one's chances of becoming an elite athlete.
You know, when you think of parents raising an elite athlete, I think of Tiger Woods and his father, or the Venus and Serena Williams and their father, how active those parents were in their upbringing with sports. Do parents need to take that kind of role, that kind of interest in their kids in order to raise an elite athlete?
Well, it's certainly helpful if parents have an interest in the sport, because it's usually the parents or mentors, or of course older siblings, that introduce athletes to sport at an early age. And of course, sometimes there's a significant cost involved for certain sports, and also a fair amount of traveling concerns. So I guess to some degree, parents are pivotal in first introducing child to sport. But at the same time, of course, it's important also that children get the opportunity to become more independent during sport. And the notion of helicopter parenting, for instance, might not be overly beneficial, because ultimately, of course, athletes have to go out and compete on their own without their parents being present. So it's a process of trying to encourage and develop the children to be as independent as early as possible.
When we hear redshirting, it typically referred to freshman year of college, but we hear this with parents deciding, hey, I'm not going to send my child to kindergarten. I want them to be one of the oldest in the class, sometimes for sports reasons. What do you think about that strategy?
Well, serendipity and luck does play a big role in terms of the development of elite athletes. Firstly, in regards to the involvement of parents, it helps actually if you're a younger sibling, but also where you're born and when you're born has a key factor. And the vast majority of elite athletes that are actually selected for high performance training programs are actually born early in the selection year. Often as many as 50% of elite athletes are born within the first 3 months of the selection year, perhaps highlighting the tendency of scouts and coaches to select boys and girls that are bigger and stronger for their age. But there is a little bit of a paradox per se, in that rather ironically, your chances of reaching the very elite level in the sport are actually better if you're born later in the selection year. So by way of example, salaries are negatively correlated with month of birth in the National Hockey League, such that if you're actually born later in the selection year, you have a higher salary.
A point that you make in your book here that I found interesting about location and how that matters, and why mid-sized towns produce the most elite athletes. Why is that?
I guess it provides the optimal access to, reasonably good training facilities, the right level of competition and other athletes to play with, and the right access to suitable levels of coaching. Whereas if you're born in a town that is too small, then often some of those ingredients are not always there. And likewise, if you're born in a very large city, then it's sometimes very difficult to get access to those kinds of facilities.
Here in Chicago, we're still waiting for many athletic seasons to get underway. If you're an elite athlete and let's say you're a senior or junior in high school, what does this do to your season and what does this do to your prospects going forward?
Well, I mean, it does depend on the sport, but some sports, I guess, certainly follow what we call an early engagement pathway in the sense that these kids, start performing at 4 or 5 years of age, and by the age of 16 to 18 can often accumulate somewhere between 6,000 and 10,000 hours in the sport. I mean, I guess perhaps the key issue is that kids are competing against other kids who are still faced with the same difficulties. So maybe the challenges of getting access to coaches and teammates and opponents at this point is something that is shared across kids as a whole. Maybe a more concerning issue perhaps is more the lack of physical activity that kids may be experiencing as a function of the reduced access to sport in these challenging times.
All right, Professor Mark Williams, thanks so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And the book is called The Best: How Elite Athletes Are Made. For more information, you can go to markwilliamssportscience.com.